made the concerted choice to be here in Oak Bluffs because we knew we would be safe. This place nurtures from the heart, from the soul, and from the environment that's here, and the way that you're able to build bonds with people.
There are gifts to all the legacies to people who have rested, slept, recreated at Martha's Vineyard, but there is something mystical there that draws people. In silence, that's when the revelations come. The stories that are told, by the porches that people sit on. You can draw strength and power from an awareness of where you are. Well, I think perhaps I should say what you, I think, are aware of. Our people are deeply mystical, you might say spiritual, and we have an appreciation for place. Martha's Vineyard, it's like a little southern village, very folksy. Really kind of churchy. How Martha's Vineyard became Martha's Vineyard has an awful lot to do with traffic. Who came through here? And by coming through here, bequeathed something.
The first time I traveled to Martha's Vineyard, I was 10. And from then on, I've gone almost every year. I think it makes sense for the Ralph Lauren brand to tell the story of Martha's Vineyard because Ralph and everybody here lives by that iconic vision of a better life. Everybody wants a better life.
I think every person has to know the history when they step on the sacred ground. After 1783, you have Black farmers who are married to indigenous people who are providing not only for Black communities, but communities throughout Massachusetts. They were respected on Martha's Vineyard.
It's important to understand there's a variety of histories, such as what we see here with Oak Bluffs. Generations of African Americans here developed some level of wealth and legacy in their own families.
I was fortunate to be born into the Shearer family. And the Shearer family first came to Martha's Vineyard in the late 1800s. My great-grandmother, Henrietta Merchant Shearer, and Charles married in Virginia at Hampton. In the 1890s, they decided to move north for a freer life. They became introduced to Martha's Vineyard. African Americans were not welcomed, for the most part, at other guest houses on the island. So he decided, I'm going to open an inn.
They've always been important because they are the root, the origin of the Black excellence here in Oak Bluffs.
Shearer Cottage became, I would say, the hub not only of our family, but of the African American community in Martha's Vineyard. Many came from Boston and many came from New York. Adam Clayton Powell Sr., who also brought his son, Adam Clayton Powell Jr., Harry G. Burley, and we were happy to have Madam C.J. Walker come to Shearer Cottage as one of our guests.
If they came up, they had a big community surrounding them already, all right? And it made it a lot easier for them to let the collars down and rest and relax.
Martha's Vineyard was the first vacation place I ever went to where being Black was normal. I really didn't realize how big a Black social scene it was. For some people, it's like going to a family reunion.
Man, when I take my family on a vacation, we're gonna relax.
One popular vacation spot is the resort town of Oak Bluffs, situated on Martha's Vineyard, a small island off the coast of Cape Cod. For fun and relaxation, thousands travel here each summer to claim their place in the sun. Doctors, teachers, and other professionals are prominent, and many have bought and maintained summer homes they intend to pass down to their families for generations.
Clothing was so important. Every picture I've ever seen of Shearer Cottage's guests and my great-grandfather, he always had a suit jacket or a vest, three-piece suit.
So as they got dressed, they were able to express how they wanted the world to see them.
You look at the pictures of these handsome Black men and women, and you realize how important it was for them.
The choices were beautiful country suits that you would wear on the beach or wear at a garden party here in Oak Bluffs. And so it had that look. The tweeds and the linens are perfect.
To see people who look like us dressed in beautiful clothes that I love and that I can imagine us being comfortable, that's where I think the magic comes in.
People would often joke that, it's like one might have on, crumpled up old linen. It's okay because you might be working your garden that day. But there's a certain relaxed nature to the way that we present ourselves here. I'm not going to say that we don't get dressed up. We most definitely do. There's an ownership of what that style might look like.
There is also a timelessness to Martha's Vineyard. It's okay that it's worn. It's okay that it's a little rusty. It's part of its charm. And I think one of the things that we value about our clothing is that you can look at your closet and find something you bought here 25 years ago. It's going to look just as good as it did the day you bought it. And that's how I think about the Vineyard.
Legacy is basically has established 2 generations of ownership. I think you did an interview with a lady by the name of Jocelyn Coleman. She's Legacy. Her family's been here at least since 1923.
Let me tell you about my grandmother, because that's why we have the property. My grandmother was very determined. So she went ahead, found a house in the Highlands, and she purchased it without my grandfather's knowledge. Life started when the day school closed, and we drove with my grandmother in one of those Woody station wagons to the vineyard and spent the whole summer. So it was like a haven for us. We would walk all the way down to the inkwell and change into our bathing suits and go to the beach and be there all day long.
I've never lived anywhere in my life where I don't wake up one morning and see water. It's one of the Caribbean islands that just moved a little further north and lots of palm trees on its way up.
There are things about this place that have to do with the beauty of the land, the color of the light. For us, having the ability to have a relationship to things that are good, that make us whole and human and healthy. Those are really, really important things.
There's something so peaceful about the vineyard that you can exhale. When I set foot on that soil, I breathe differently.
Just being here, it's just a peace of mind and the safety. Those people who have planted the seed, much flowers to them. that I can get this opportunity to be here.
The very notion of Black home ownership, even today, is a challenging concept if you look at the aggregate numbers. If you think about what built Oak Bluffs, it was actually Black second home ownership.
My grandchildren still can come and go. I want them to understand that Granny did this for us.
And this is very important. By maintaining your grandparents or your parents' home, you are able to acquire generational wealth. And I tell that to new families that I meet. Try to hold on to this property that will allow you to build your own legacy.
I'm Shelley Stewart III, and my son is the fourth. My father is junior, and his father was senior, and all four of us have spent significant time on the vineyard. For me, it's always been about the inspiration that it provides.
I would hope that my great-grandparents will look back and say, you're doing a good job, Lee. You know, keeping the family legacy going.
This is a really special home from a historical perspective. The house was owned by a gentleman named Joe Overton. He was the president of the NAACP out of New York, and it's known as the house for African Americans where strategy took place.
During the Civil Rights Movement, it was like a place for rest and relaxation. Martin Luther King, Baird Rustin, Harry Belafonte, and other people.
It was the aunties that would say, oh yeah, we used to see Martin on your porch. And no one would bother him. He just liked to be in the rocking chair, and he was often writing. So that oral history is really rich. There aren't too many places where everyone feels welcome.
Dorothy West was a celebrated writer of the Harlem Renaissance.
I never wanted to be anything else but a writer.
She was also someone who wrote the column for the Vineyard Gazette, and that's been passed down to other Black writers. And I think that's an important tradition to keep our stories alive.
My introduction to Martha's Vineyard came as a result of my friendship with Bell Hooks. And then when I went there the first time, I realized that there were other Black feminists who went there on a regular basis. It was always, to me, a runaway for Black academic intellectual folk.
So they're walking down the street and they're having a conversation with Henry Louis Gates. Or they may continue on and there is a program that Spike Lee is sponsoring. There are these spaces and opportunities that happen on the island.
So on this street, there are at least several families that have been here since early 60s. I feel really honored to be in the space of such greatness.
I grew up in this house. And this is one of my dad's best friend's houses. And so I have childhood memories here. I got childhood memories across the street and 4 houses down. Of course, I hear all the stories about before I was born, because this was also a house where a lot of parties were thrown.
5 to 7s were get-togethers. You meet between 5 and 7, you would make the different rounds to different houses. It was a social time. That's when people had their doors open, you come in, you socialized.
The island was a place that was safe. My parents didn't have to worry about us. So for them, it was just like one party after another. They could enjoy their generation.
The shirts were crisp, their white ties were part of the ensemble. The pants were creased. You could cut yourself on the creases of the pants. The Atlantic break, just a little shiver over the shoes. Don't cover the shoes up with fabric. You want to wear clothes, as Ralph said, that are timeless, that they will look spectacular now and in the future.
The transformation of Martha's Vineyard began when Bill and Hillary Clinton came in the early 90s.
Nobody had heard about Martha's Vineyard until they would go and visit Ann and Vernon and have a big social life there.
And then it went into a whole different speed when the Obamas came. The Obamas were associated with a set of folks who had been going there for years, like Valerie Jarrett.
The year of the 2004 convention speech, we stayed together. And I remember he came back from his run and he said to Michelle and me, he said, "You're not gonna believe this. Somebody took my photograph. I think people now know who I am." After President Obama was elected president and went to the island, then it turbocharged all of the energy and enthusiasm. Now, all of August, it's just packed. But I don't even mind it being crowded. There's just nothing about that experience up there that is irritating to me.
So my grandfather's name is Vernon Jordan, and he and my grandmother, Ann Jordan, rented a house in Chilmark.
Allen Sheep Farm.
The Allen Sheep Farm. Papa loved spending time with his grandchildren. And when you would walk in the door, he would say in his big deep voice, "Hey, Jackie," and you would run up and give him a big hug.
Camp Grandma had 3 rules. 1, have fun. 2, do your chores. And 3, don't get hit with Grandma's flip-flop. These summers were some of the most precious memories I've had in my childhood.
Some of my best memories with my grandfather were, as a child up here on the vineyard. So much valuable time spent out on that front porch, shouting at people on the inkwell. Remember being out front, throwing a ball around with my dad and his friends and their sons.
That was the first real sense of freedom that we have as kids, because it was such a safe place that our parents were comfortable with us walking around on our own.
Here, I felt like a sense of belonging, seeing other people that looked like me, going to the Five Horses Carousel, and having that sense of community.
I mean, it's a fascinating thing because some of my best friends in life I met here on the island, and I would only see those people for 2, 4, maybe 6 weeks a year. There's something about coming here, shared goal, shared purpose, and it's a very unique experience.
But I think the most exciting part was it really was just being with our cousins for such an extended period of time. I think that at a given time, there can be 40 of us up here.
There's at least 3 different branches coming from the grandparent siblings that come up here.
I honestly feel bad for my kids because the whole island's about to be their cousin. They're literally not about to be able to get away with anything.
Morehouse and Spelman, by extension, Cheney or Tuskegee, Fisk, those are spaces that allow for people who have been pushed to the margins to feel centered, at least for a moment during the summer months. We are able to feel that way in places like Oak Bluffs.
There are all these kinds of things, these traditions that we were able to build in the closeness and the proximity of the safe spaces where we practice and learn Black excellence.
Martha's Vineyard and HBCU spaces, I like to call them spaces of decolonizing the imagination. Our children witness excellence in a very relaxed environment.
My own children could come down here on Martha's Vineyard and see the doctors riding around in beautiful cars and lawyers, and they said to themselves, I can do that too. And that's very special.
There's no space that Black people occupy that has one dimension. So I say that Martha's Vineyard is a complex, multifaceted, heterogeneous place that Black people gather. Same thing with Spelman College. I hope this project and the connection with Ralph Lauren makes people more aware of the importance of HBCUs.
Ralph Lauren has always told the story of America, and that's what I think I admire about this brand, is that it gives voice to our history.
We tell the story in a uniquely Ralph Lauren way, by beginning by listening. We all want to belong and fit in and be included and welcomed. And that's what I think our values stand for. I think that's what makes it special.
We had to build something, we had to create something. We are striving to participate in the American dream, and this was a place where you could be around folks who had that same mindset. And I think that holds even true today. My parents got engaged here on the island at State Beach, and then in the house where we're filming this, they actually celebrate that engagement with all their friends. If you fast forward, I got married here 30 years after that. And in fact, some of those people that were celebrating in this house, their kids were in the wedding with me.
I feel like more than anything, I want to carry that legacy on. There are so many connections that have been made from coming to this place, not even just like from my time here, but from my parents' time coming.
There are just so many stories that we tell each other to remind ourselves, and it just brings back this feeling of complete pleasure. I think it's part of our legacy.
Our African American stories are liberating, and we cannot allow the story just to be passed by osmosis. It has to be intentional.
We started 120 years ago. Let these families, these new families, do the same thing. It can be done. You just have to make those sacrifices and work hard and build the legacies.
And the last question, if you can just complete this sentence saying, Oak Bluffs is.
Let's see. Well, Oak Bluffs is love. Oak Bluffs, to me, is strong Black women who kept Shearer Cottage going. Of course, Oak Bluffs is beautiful. I'm just thrilled that I'm part of it. I'm thrilled that I'm part of it.
Best ice cream shop, Ben & Bill's, Oak Bluffs.
This is debatable, right? But I would just say Mad Martha's.
Mad Martha's for me.
Cookout song.
Will Smith's Summertime. Oh, yeah.
We didn't practice these.
Before I Let Go, Frankie Beverly.
Al Green, I'm thinking Love and Happiness.
The best place to lay in the sun is Lambert's Cove.
Redemption. Yes.
It would be Katama for me.
What am I bringing to the cookout? What is Mom making for you to bring to the cookout, right?
Ooh, what am I bringing to the cookout?
Potato salad that she's already prepped.
Beautifully made grilled steak with a herb butter roasted on top, and it's going to be fantastic.
Cut that.
I have always believed in the American dream. Since I started my company over 50 years ago, I considered our greatest responsibility to understand, be inspired by, and aspire to the dreams of all those who call this country home. When I was approached with the idea of a collection inspired by the heritage and traditions of the timeless dressing of historically Black colleges and universities, it became clear that part of our design sensibility has been missing. This special collaboration with the students, the faculty, and alumni of Morehouse and Spelman colleges, two esteemed institutions attended by our own employees, extends the authenticity of our brand heritage, writing untold chapters in our storytelling. Our portrait of American style and our vision of the American dream would be incomplete without Black experiences like these. I'm so honored to be part of it.
The significance of the Black aesthetic at HBCUs from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s has a lot to do with self-determination, which is one of the main reasons that